People, we're back in Portsmouth, and this week we've got Paul of Casemates Studios and Cafe.
So we're very local based. A lot of the bands that we get come here, they just want to kind of meet up with their friends on a Tuesday night, and it's like their little club. You know, once a week, some people go play darts on a Friday, or some people go play snooker, but some people like to come here. Started running this place 13 years ago. I took it over from a gentleman called Derek, who started it up in the 90s. We've only got one recording suite, but then we have 7 rehearsal rooms. And that's always kind of been the bulk of what we do here. For many years it was just rehearsal rooms. Obviously a lot of bands in Portsmouth can't play loud in their house because you've always got someone next door to you. We started our open mic night on a Monday night, which is an originals only open mic night. It encourages people to only play their own original songs, also encourages people to jam with each other, make up stuff on the night. And again, that's really helped the community aspect of it, because we get a lot of regulars now and they're all very supportive of each other.
Alright, so, yeah, Paul, welcome to What's Going On show, man. Thanks for coming on. And, again, thank you for inviting us in this cool place. I mean, I think it's like a hidden wonder of Portsmouth. That's why I call it hidden treasure of Portsmouth. It's like, I knew it was here, but I didn't know it was here, and it's been all over social, so we're going to find out a bit about it today and about yourself.
Thank you.
So, cool. Little tradition I've got in this show is before we begin, I like to... instead of me giving you an introduction, I'd like to just give it straight over to you. So,
Okay.
Who in a nutshell is Paul of Casemates?
I am Paul of Casemates, yeah, that's a nice way to say it. I've been here now for 13 years running Casemates. Before I ran Casemates, my musical background was playing in kind of local bands on the local scene. Never really made it any further than just kind of playing in the venues of Portsmouth, maybe a couple in Brighton or London now and again, but the bands I was in, we were just kind of doing our own thing, having fun, but never really had many aspirations other than that. But yeah, I started running this place 13 years ago. I took it over from a gentleman called Derek, who started it up in the 90s. He first made some rehearsal rooms out of these rooms, and then since then just kind of trying to find ways to develop it, make it better for bands to use, make it more convenient. We've upgraded all the equipment, we've made some new rehearsal rooms, and then we've added a cafe on a venue space, and then this is the latest addition, this recording room that we're in now.
Mad. So it's been here 30 years. But it is not out of the way. But Hilsea is a bit out of the way, would you say?
Depends which way you're coming from. I think traditionally everyone around Portsmouth think, Southsea is where everything's at. It's where kind of a lot of the bars are, a lot of the shops are. But actually, like, half the population of Portsmouth live off Portsmouth Island. So for where we are, actually, it's a good central location because we have people come up from Southsea, from Milton, from Bathurst, from Cotner. But then we've also got lots of customers that come from Havant, from Waterlooville, from Fareham. So it's actually quite a central location for the wider Portsmouth area.
I agree. I hear that. No, fair enough. I hear it. Yeah, because yeah, no. I fully hear that. And so this is obviously a really cool room. This really cool recording room. But how many do you have here?
So we've only got one recording suite.
Okay.
But then we have 7 rehearsal rooms.
Interesting.
And that's always kind of been the bulk of what we do here. And for many years it was just rehearsal rooms. Obviously a lot of bands in Portsmouth can't play loud in their house because you've always got someone next door to you. So it's always been a great place to have it and to come here, and there's lots of bands that want to play loud, and we've got all the drum kits in the room, they're all acoustic kits, so bands can rehearse here at gig level volume without having to worry about upsetting anyone.
Fair game. Yeah, you can actually make a racket. We're in the middle of I think I actually came on a walk here once, and there's like an abandoned, one of the Casemates was an abandoned like military thing or something.
Yeah,
like
that's Bastion 5. So this is Bastion 4.
Okay.
Used to be 7 or 8 of them. They used to stretch across the whole of the top of Portsmouth.
Wow.
And like the top of Portsmouth was like a fort. There's only maybe 4 left of them. 3 of them are being used and one's abandoned, and you can only get to 1 foot.
Yeah, that's really interesting to go there. I do recommend it. But anyway, be careful. But no, cool. So you said you grew up in Portsmouth. You said you did music. You said you never wanted to do anything, well, take it really seriously. But why?
I never wanted to.
You didn't want to like do it. I mean, you did do it professionally. You did do it paid gigs, but you said you didn't have any major aspirations for it.
I think I mean that on a original level of kind of creating your own music. Like the bands I did when I was younger, I enjoyed it, and we would write songs, but you see the bands that were doing well, and they were really, really pushing it. They were getting their own merchandise. They were trying to get gigs here, there, and everywhere. And I suppose I just never really had that drive to want to do that, to be a big famous band or something. I just enjoyed playing with my friends and enjoyed meeting other people to play gigs and bits like that. So from that side of it, that was that. But then I did kind of fall into, after I did original bands, playing in tribute bands, original cover bands, wedding bands, and did that for about 10 years. And that was a nice bit of additional income when I was growing up, going out at the weekends. And I did it with some really good people as well, so it was always really good fun.
Okay, interesting. So, obviously, live music bands, bands and artists, I guess, come here. But yeah, over the years, who's come here?
I wouldn't really say we've had many big names. We're very local based.
I love that.
The biggest band we've had here recently have been a band called the Lottery Winners. They've mainly come here because their producer Tristan works here. He's from Portsmouth originally, so he's been working for them for quite a long time now. So he brought them down here. But really, we have been focused on kind of the local community of bands, and a lot of the bands that we get come here. My word for them now is hobbyists. They just want to kind of meet up with their friends on a Tuesday night, and it's like their little club. Once a week, some people go play darts on a Friday, or some people go play snooker, or some people like to come here and meet with their friends and play songs they enjoy playing and turn up their amps to their maximum volume, which they can't do at home. And it's a really nice outlet. It's got a nice social aspect to it, and people just enjoy it. It's good fun. So they're kind of, that's, I would say, is our core audience. And then we have other bands that come here that are pushing themselves and they want to be playing gigs and getting out there, and we're trying to find ways to support them as well.
No, I get that. So you referenced there the music scene in Portsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, what's it like?
I think it's growing. I think a good example of that was the Portsmouth Music Awards last year that Matt hosted from Word of Mouth. It was a really good example actually of everything that's going on in different music scenes as well. It's not just one music scene. There are other. We're kind of more focused here on kind of rock and pop, I suppose, because of the nature of our rehearsal rooms. It's just it's the sort of bands that attract. But then it was nice to see that there was other scenes going on as well in different genres, and everyone was coming out, everyone was supporting each other, and I think that's the good thing about kind of the growing scene at the moment is the amount of support there seems to be for everybody, and everyone's willing to help each other. So I think it's only lead to good things going forward.
I'd say, as someone in the art space, I'd say that's something I've seen across the whole art sphere and music sphere, whatever, culture sphere in Portsmouth currently. There's a lot of collab, there's a lot of support, and I don't think anyone's sort of saying, oh, I do this, and sort of asking each other out anymore. But I don't know, it's an observation. It's interesting to hear that from yourself.
Yeah, I think people have just realised that maybe kind of that arrogant aspect of it doesn't get you anywhere, and it's no fun as well. What I enjoy about it is meeting people and chatting to new people all the time and stuff. And if you're going to go around with that attitude, no one's going to want to work with you. People want to spend time with people that are enjoyable to be around, so it just makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that. So Casemates then traditionally was mainly rehearsal rooms. Then you've got the recording studio. But then obviously you said that the cafe outside, it opened, I remember we said off camera, it opened just through COVID or after COVID. But what was the reason behind that, and how does that play a part in the ecosystem of Casemates?
Originally, the reason was behind it is because we weren't making any money because the government wouldn't let people rehearse, so we sold coffees. We had to find a way to survive.
Yeah.
But like I said, it just... it wasn't a grand plan, but it happened, and we were like, oh, actually, this is quite nice. And then we realised this is actually a good place to have a cafe, because it's a really great area to walk. We get lots of dog walkers, but then we managed to find a way to use that space to help the music community as well. So we started our open mic night on a Monday night, which is an originals only open mic night. So it encourages people to only play their own original songs, also encourages people to jam with each other, make up stuff on the night. And again, that's really helped the community aspect of it, because we get a lot of regulars now and they're all very supportive of each other. So for instance, someone will come along with an acoustic guitar, I've got this new song, I'm going to try it out tonight. And then they got chatting to someone and said, "Oh, it's only 3 chords. Do you want to play some bass with it?" So someone would jump up and play bass, someone would jump up and play drums, and before they know it, they're kind of performing this new song with people that they just met. And it's getting people out of their comfort zones as well, and giving them a platform to try things for the first time, where there's no judgment, there's no one's there expecting to watch a polished band. Everyone knows what they're there for. So it's a really nice platform, and it's run by 2 musicians called Nathan and Ryan Hill, who have been in the local music scene for many years, and they're very supportive of everyone as well, and they're musicians themselves, so they'll happily get up and join in on the night as well.
Class. So, well, open mic nights on Mondays. But, okay, so what else runs throughout the week? Is it just, what else runs throughout the week?
Sunday afternoon we do free live music. And that's a mixture of bands doing covers or bands doing their own stuff. We try to mix it up and let people kind of decide what they want to do. It's their choice to play what they want. But it's a free thing. Anyone can walk in. We keep it very chilled. Try not to go too loud. We've had a few bands approach us that want to play, but they're quite heavy rock bands, and that style doesn't really fit on the Sunday afternoon what we're going for. So we try to keep things on the mellower side. Sometimes it has got a bit heavy. Kind of rein it in a bit. But then we make the space available on Friday and Saturday nights for any heavier local bands to kind of put on their own kind of ticketed shows. So we've been trying to work out, we've done a few now, and bands have kind of got together, like 3 or 4 different bands, put a little band night together, just done some tickets to cover the cost of the sound engineer and stuff, and invited friends and family along, and it's been a nice space for that, because it's only 60 capacity in there.
Okay.
So it's a nice small venue to start off in.
Mm-hmm.
I've been chatting to loads of bands over the years about kind of the progress of how bands start out. And when you're starting out, doing your first gig in somewhere like a 60 capacity venue is lovely, because you get maybe 30, 40 people in there, and you've got a really good atmosphere, and it's a great gig. Whereas if you did somewhere bigger, like if you're going to jump to the Wedge Rooms, they've got to sell 400 tickets, you have 60 people in there, and it's not a good atmosphere. So it's kind of having stepping stones of venues. So you could do like our cafe at 60 first, and if that goes well, and then maybe you look at the edge of the Wedge, which is 120. It's the little front part of the Wedge Rooms.
Oh yeah.
So you can do it in there, and there's 100 capacity, and then that's the next step. We've now got Cola in Southsea, and that's a really nice 200.
Cola?
Yeah. So that's taken over from what was Moonshine, which took over from what was EQ, and it's been different places over the years.
Yeah.
But that's 250 capacity. I went there recently. They've got a good PA up in there. It looks like a proper venue. So then you can step up to that one, and then you do 250. And you think, oh, okay, now I can look at the Wedge Rooms, and then you go up to that. So that's what kind of bands need, is different stepping stones of venues to build up. And each time they learn their craft, they attract more fans, rather than trying to jump in at the deep end. So.
That's interesting. So bands trying to jump in at the deep end, I guess over the years you might have seen a lot.
Yeah.
What typically happens when they jump in at the deep end?
Well, say for instance, well, first of all, the guys at the Wedge Rooms aren't going to put a band on in the Wedge Rooms that they don't feel confident they're going to sell enough ticket, because obviously financially, unfortunately, it doesn't make any sense. But if they did slip through and they got that show, and then they only sold 60 tickets, say, and they play in that room to 60 people, I think you're not going to walk away from it buzzing. Whereas you played in a small room like our cafe at 60 people, you are going to walk away from it buzzing. And I've been in bands, so I know exactly what it's like. You'd much rather play to a small venue that's packed out than to a large venue with the same amount of people in it, because you just don't get that atmosphere, and then you walk away feeling deflated, and maybe then that sets you back, and it lowers your confidence, and it doesn't push you forward the way that you want it to.
Yeah, I can see that. So writing a song, writing a tune, I guess you've seen so many that happened over the years in here and wherever, but what would you say is, when people are writing a tune here, for example, on a Monday night and the open mic thing, do they ever take it further? Do they ever?
Yeah. We've had people turn up, and they've turned up with their songs, and that's been the first thing they've done. And then they've got chatting to us, and then they think, you know what, we are going to record it. And then they've come in here and they've recorded, and then more conversations have happened, and we said, oh, I know these people are doing a gig, and they want a band to support this venue. Why don't you go and do that? And kind of give people advice, and before they know it, they've got quite a few gigs booked in. There's quite a lot of bands on a Monday night that have done that. They've just turned up. It's the first gig they've done, and a couple of years down the line, they're now gigging regularly at different places.
That's good. I mean, we said it off camera as well, just before earlier. And I just want to touch on it in here. So, I said, what would you do if, I know it's all subjective, but what do you do if a band comes in and it's not great music and they really want to push it and you have to get behind them?
Like I said, music is subjective. What I particularly think is good may not think what you think is good, and that's the great thing about it. But what I do always say to anyone who's writing music is that it needs to be genuine, and don't try to write what you think someone else would like. You write what you think is good, because people can tell when it's genuine and when it's not genuine. And if you write something that's genuine, it may not connect with these people over here, but these people will connect with it because they can sense that they're genuine and they link with it. So rather than trying to focus on writing something that you think is going to appeal to everybody, because you never will, just focus on what the music is that you like. And I've worked in music, so I can step in and I can maybe listen to it subjectively, and I might be able to give a tip on where I think the song could go, or how a bass line should sound, or how the drums should sound. And you can take that on board, but I don't think I could really step in and totally change a song, because that song is theirs in the first place. And especially the kind of the lyrical content of it as well. You may be able to step in and say, these lyrics are really good, but if you kind of use this word instead of that word, it might flow better. But without changing the content of the lyrics, do you know what I mean? Just using different words. Thesaurus is good for that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To find what you want to say, but with words that flow better, perhaps you can kind of help out that way. But the essence of what a particular band is trying to create is something that they need to do themselves. And for a younger generation to come through, like we said earlier on, we don't know how like the next generation are going to, what sort of scene they're going to create, what music is going to be popular. So what I think could be popular is totally different to what like kind of 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds are listening to now. And they don't want some, I'm now nearly 40, kind of telling them what I thought was good 20 years ago, because it's totally different. And they need to figure it out for themselves, and what they're going to create could be a new scene that no one sees coming.
Something I picked up on there, you said authentic, keep it real. But I think we can't not look at the fact and can't be naive to the fact that AI is here. So, first question is, have you ever had a band in here who utilises AI?
Not that I know of.
That's interesting.
I mean, in the rehearsal rooms here in particular, people are coming in here because I think they want to connect playing with other people. If you obviously get people that write music by themselves, and they will probably tend to be at home because they can do that by themselves at home. They can plug into a laptop, they can program drums, they can use AI tools and create a song they want to create at home by themselves. However, coming to a place like this, I think, is a very collaborative thing. And you're meeting with other people, drummers, bass players, guitarists, singers, keyboard players, and you do get a buzz off of playing live with other people. And I don't think that's something that AI can create. It's like going to a live gig as well. Like, so far, I don't think any technology can replace the feeling of watching a band live. The feeling you get, the atmosphere in the audience, the sound of like the low end going through your body, the lights, the whole everything, the production. I don't think AI is going to change that. It might help the technology behind that. If you're watching a live show, I imagine there will be some AI technology that's going to help with the lights and help with the kind of the production and stuff like that. But the essence of the band on stage and the atmosphere that it creates, I'm not entirely convinced it's going to change much of that yet, because people still want that human connection.
So now I hear, but I had someone on the show last year some point, or this year some point. Geez, it's been a long year.
Yeah.
But basically, they said that about the ABBA.
Voyage, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing.
I do want to go to that actually.
Yeah, apparently that's buzzing. Apparently, and it's all AI.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
it's AI, but it's a live band.
Interesting. What do you mean?
The holograms are run from some sort of AI of the individual ABBA members, but the music you're hearing is being performed by a live band.
That still gives it that human factor.
And it's like you can. Well, I can definitely hear the difference between a band playing live and a track. And it's like when you go to a theatre show, you're watching that theatre, but there's something about the sound, because there is a live orchestra under that stage playing it, which you don't always see a lot of the times. You might see a little bit of them. And then I've been to some other ones where it is a backing track, and you can definitely tell the difference. But the big Broadway shows in London, they're all live music, and there's just something about the sounds to it that adds to the atmosphere.
I agree.
Yeah,
I do agree. So, yeah, I mean, I am interested. I mean, there are some songs out there right now, I can't think of the names, but they are quite popular and they're made by AI. And I also met a guy who had their own sort of like record label, but instead of coming into a studio or whatever it was, they got everyone to play their own chords. So they sent them over the they sent them over the lyrics, they sang the lyrics, they sent over the guitar, they played the guitar, the drums, so on and so on, and then they all put it together through an AI software, and it came out with a track. That's a bit crazy though.
It's a bit crazy, and you do wonder how well. I don't think I've heard I have actually. I have heard some AI music. I remember we put a playlist on in the cafe, and it was like this funk and soul playlist. That'll do. And about 10 minutes into it, we're like, what are these songs? And we realised it was a whole AI playlist made up of songs that sound like funk and soul songs. And they did all sound like it, but very quickly we got bored of it. Because we realised it sounded just like something we knew, but it wasn't something we knew. So I think if you would put a load of stuff into a program and the AI is going to mix it, is it just going to mix it like any pop song it thinks it should sound like? And then it's going to take away something from whatever producer's doing it? Or could you say a producer could use an AI software and it's going to tell it what to do, but it's going to tell it very specific things that only a producer would think of? And then it's kind of it's like speeding up the technology, I suppose. If a producer sat in front of a screen and he's editing stuff, he's physically changing stuff on the screen and moving the mouse pad around, would giving it a command to AI just do all that for him and speed up time? Is that a use of AI that is not taking away creativity and it's just helping the process? It's like, yeah, a bit of both.
Yeah, it is a bit strange. It is a bit strange because across the whole art scene or the whole creative sector right now, that is the debate, isn't it? That is the, But I guess it brings it back to that. It is that human factor. It is that raw connection. You can tell because you got bored of it. It sounded like something, but it wasn't. And I think it is just that uniqueness of it that we like.
What I think it would definitely make a difference in is stuff like music that you hear in adverts and in TV and in where they want, and it already happens anyway, it's called library music, and people write this sort of stuff, and TV producers will go to these musicians and say, can you create me a backing track for this film that sounds like The Doors, for instance? And someone will go there and they'll make a track, and it means that they can have that kind of sound to their soundtrack, but they don't have to pay the royalties of having an actual Doors song on there. So it's people like that who are creating those library tracks, they're the ones that are going to lose out. Because it's that sort of music that they won't be able to, that they'll be easily recreated. Music in the charts, though, might be something a bit different.
Yeah, for now. I hope.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope.
It depends what, I mean, at the moment, chart music is dominated by Netflix films, isn't it? It's just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids love the K-pop Demon Hunters. Have you not got into
I've
it?
not.
Got
I've not got into it. Yeah, no, I haven't got kids.
And it's just, but it's probably the same all round.
Interesting. Wow. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a fascinating one. Okay, so that's kind of AI-ish. The future of recording studios. I mean, what is your opinion then? The future of recording studios?
Oh, it's a tough one. It is. It depends what the kind of purpose of the person recording wants to do. I mean, a lot of our people that are coming to record here at the weekends, they are local bands, but they're local bands pushing their own original material. And if you're spending time at home and you're writing tracks and you're collaborating with your friends, you want to see a finished product. So to what level of professionalism you want that finished product, I suppose, comes down to the individual. You can do some really good stuff now and at home with a laptop and a couple of decent mics, and you can program the drums and you can make it like that. And it can sound pretty decent. And then, or you can step up to the next level and come somewhere like here where you can record live drums. I mean, a lot of people haven't got the luxury of recording live drums in their house just because it's obviously too loud and it's a big setup in a big space. but you can record maybe their own vocals at home and then program the drums underneath it. So it comes down to the individual, I suppose, and the experience they want from doing a recording. A lot of people that come here and record, like I said, they do it as a collaborative. And not only are they recording here, but they're kind of creating it and writing at the same time. They haven't got it all completely finished. Some bands do. Some bands come in, they know exactly what their parts are, nail them and go, where other people come in here and they've got an idea of a song, they've got some lyrics, but they haven't got the completed song yet, and they want to complete it as they're recording it. And like I said, it's a collaborative thing. You've got someone on the drums, someone else listening. Maybe they've got a bass and guitarist in at the same time, just giving a rhythm. And they're thinking of stuff as they go. And, oh, actually, no, that was a good chop. Maybe we'll do that again. And it's having that bouncing back off of people. Where if you were just doing that on your home, at home, your own, you wouldn't be bouncing off people to do that. So it depends on the individual. Some people will like to do everything themselves and they want to do it themselves, but some people just want to do it collaboratively. And I think it's those people that will help keep studios like this going.
I get that. Would you underline it, saying it's the power of jamming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The power of jamming. As I say, it's the human connection as well.
It is.
Yeah. I always remember, I've got the fondest memories of when I was first playing in bands when I was young, and kind of the feeling you get of when you're playing with musicians and it all comes together for the first time, and you think, wow, that sounds great. And then you just play that same song again and again and again and again. Probably sounded rubbish to anyone else listening, but to you guys at that moment it sounded absolutely great. And it's just moments like that, you're not gonna get that trying to create something on a laptop by yourself in a bedroom.
I get that. So, okay, so Casemates then. You open 7 days a week.
Yes.
Jeez. So you open 7 days a week. I mean, on the way here, this is a true story. So on the way here, I followed the directions you gave, but then it took me round the industrial park.
That happens on some sat-navs, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I was like, this can't be it. And then I had to come around. So where are we situated then?
We are in Hilsey, amongst the Hilsey lines of Fox's Forest. So we are north of the industrial estate, but you cannot access us through the industrial estate. You need to come to us via London Road. And you can go down two roads, either Perome Road or Military Road, depending on which direction of town you're coming from. Although there are some roadworks at the moment, kind of making that a bit of a pain to get out of here.
Yeah, no, the beauty of it as well is free parking, isn't it? I love that.
There is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that, honestly. Okay, cool. So, Casemates, obviously you've gone through, 30 years. You've gone, that's literally my whole life. But you've gone through this, ups and downs, peaks and troughs, like any business. And now you've got the coffee shop and obviously the rehearsal rooms and the recording studios. Where do you see the future of Casemates? Where do you see the future of Casemates?
We want to focus more on having a live space for people to perform in. You know, all you hear on the news at the moment, a few music and through the music venues trust is venues are always closing down. There's less creative spaces for people to perform and do other arts as well, not just music, comedy, spoken word, but other spaces for other sorts of arts as well, whether that be kind of drawing, all sorts of art. We've been trying to find ways to collaborate and make the space available. So it's making sure our space can be used by the arts community in as many different ways as possible. We put live music on in the cafe, so that's going really, really well. What we'd really like to do is curate a small venue space here of about 100, 120 capacity, which, unlike the cafe, is more like a proper little music venue with a good stage and a little lighting rig, good PA, and heavy bands can perform in it. So it can be, like I said earlier on, about the kind of steps of the bands, so we can kind of tick that step off, so we can create more places that we can play, and that will be more suitable then for heavier bands to play. But it would be a multi-purpose space, and we can do other events in there as well. But that's kind of the goal we're looking at for the next couple of years. But we're a listed building, so anything we do needs to be signed off through Historic England and through the council as well. Making changes isn't always the easiest thing, and to do that we need to look at like fire safety capacities and things like that. So we get there. It's just a bit of a long path.
I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, here's one for you then. So you said that it's a listed building.
Yeah.
And this is one up for debate. My mate told me this, and anyway, so because it's a listed building, and obviously you got to go through all these permissions, you got to do all this stuff, and it's an old building. Would you think it's more cost effective just to create a whole new building, or carry on using this building and keep on paying the overheads?
No, actually, the building is pretty solid, and it's a good location. It's quirky. People like the fact that it's a reuse of an old building. Building a studio from scratch now would cost a fortune, because you wouldn't be able to get a good location without having to be surrounded by other properties. So you'd have to do a lot of sound insulation and a lot of worrying like that. So I would definitely not want to move it. I like where we are. I like our location. It fits well with what we do. People like the building, and it's great to see that these old buildings can be repurposed for something. At the end of the day, it's a brick shell. Anything in there, and that's the only thing we can't change, to be honest with you. Everything else inside is pretty much new. It's all new electrics. It's all new plasterboard, new doors, new floors. So it's just trying to, like I say, work out how we can change things when we need to change things. And the going through historic England, it is a lot of work, but I understand why it's there. You don't want people to damage these buildings and ruin them, which some people could. Personally, I think what we've done here has been great. It's been given the building a new lease of life. You can see the abandoned one in Bastion 5, and it's just been absolutely left to ruin, and it's a really bad state. Our building breathes, there's air going through it every day, there's people moving through it. It's not stale, it's not damp, it's dry, it's clean, it's warm. So I definitely wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, cool. I mean, yeah, we could put a pin in it there then. I mean, I'm excited to see what happens next with obviously the studio.
Yeah.
And whatever you get up to next. And I think, yeah, the space upstairs, the creative space, that does sound interesting. That really does. I mean, I feel like it's, staggeringly good.
Yeah.
I feel like it's that, but the more creative version.
Yeah.
that's the image I'm getting in my head.
Yeah, I really like Staggeringly Good. We sell their beers here.
Oh yeah, fair
We
enough.
know a few of the guys, and I think what they're doing there as well, having a space for bands there, is really, really good. I mean, like I said earlier on, there are venues shutting down around the country, but there are other places at the same time but opening up, having to be a bit more creative. I mean, Staggeringly Good have got the advantage because they're selling their own beer, and it's like what we do here. It's not just one business; it's just like a couple of businesses bolted together that work next to each other. They do the same thing. They're a brewery, but they've also got their own events and art space because they can put them together. Because if they have events that don't necessarily sell well, it's not the end of the world because they've still got the brewery, and vice versa. So you can kind of support each other, and it's the same here. We're going to have the venue. We can put events on. If we have nights where that don't sell well and they're not particularly busy, it's not the end of the world because we've still got bands in rehearsing at the same time. Whereas a traditional venue relies on that, people going to watch whatever's on, and if it doesn't happen and they don't make any money, then that's when they really struggle.
That's interesting. So would you say, if we're going back in, would you say that is the future of venue spaces, is to have multiple business in one so they complement each other?
I think they definitely need to find other sources of income. Yeah, I mean, like some of the tribute bands we've gone all around the country playing different venues, and the ones that are succeeding tend to be the ones that have multiple uses. We've gone into some venues, and during the day they've got food on, they're doing restaurant, or they've got sports on in the afternoon, and then we're setting up at the venue at the back. So it's like the traditional venue, it's closed during the day. And then it opens at 7:30 doors, people come in, watch the band and leave, and that's it. They're only making the money at that time. Whereas a lot of the newer venues now, afternoon, they've got one room where they're showing sports and people doing food, and then that goes on, but then this room opens, and that's where the live band are in there. So there's a lot going on in one building, but it seems to be the way that you can kind of have multiple income streams from one building. And obviously, and also kind of expanding what's going on in that venue. It's not just live music. There's also hitting different scenes, whether it kind of be like comedy is obviously really, really big now in venues, so that does really well. Little theatre shows using venues, art galleries, all just might set up in a venue for a day, all sorts of different things that can be used to bring in different communities and use the space.
I mean, they say the death of the English pub, the death of third spaces, but would you say the future of third spaces is... are venues like these?
What do you mean by third spaces?
I think they say, like, you've got home, you've got work, which is another space, and you need
I've never heard it referred to as that before, but I see what you mean. Yeah, There always needs to be a community space. Yeah. Whether that would be pubs, cafes. So there are pubs. I think the corner pub, obviously the traditional pub. We've lost a lot of them over the years. I grew up in Milton. We used to have loads of pubs around Milton, and now there's 2. So, but the death of the pub, I don't necessarily think it's down to kind of the attendance of people going to the pubs. It's also kind of the model of how pubs are run with breweries and stuff as well, and all different sorts of costs that pubs have had to deal with, which has not helped. Different taxes and rates, and breweries absolutely sucking pubs dry. Yeah. So it's a bit of greed from the bigger corporations that haven't helped there.
Which is weird as well, because you think
why some of the independent places are doing pretty well now, because they're not linked to breweries. So if they kind of can do their own thing without being linked to a brewery, they seem to be doing a lot better.
That is strange, though. I mean, I'm curious to understand why breweries are placing so many taxes and costs on pubs when they're probably doing good anyway, because the alcohol industry is massive.
It's like any big corporation, every year their net profit needs to get higher and higher, doesn't it, for the shareholders, so they can get all their money.
Yeah, go.
Getting deep now.
Yeah, the system. But
I think if it gives the opportunity for independent places to thrive and keep the money in the community, because I'm local here, so and all of our staff are local, so all the profit that we make goes back into the building, goes back into the staff, goes back into the equipment in this place. So it just kind of keeps the money in the local community.
I get that.
And it'd be the same with any independent cafe, any independent pub. The money that you're spending there stays in the local community. It doesn't go off somewhere else and never to be seen again.
I mean, on the local note, then, do you only employ people who are based in the realm of Portsmouth and wider Portsmouth?
Oh yeah, because we've had 2 full-time staff members here, and everyone else is part-time, so they're not travelling far to come work here. No one's going to come commute from London to work in a place like this, are they? It's not that sort of job. So yeah, all of our staff are local. My first employee, who's been here for 13 years, was my old music teacher.
Nice.
So he's still here now. So everyone's kind of a bit of a family. Someone's setting off an alarm there in the back. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, they've not unset the alarm. Again, our alarm company is a local company.
Nice.
We try to work with local companies. We sell local breweries. We sell their beers. We source our coffee from a local guy, a local barista. He sorts all our coffee beans out for us. So we try our best where we can to keep it local with our suppliers as well.
Is that Dwayne?
What, the coffee guy? That's a guy called James, Bubblehead Barista. Yeah, we tried his coffee.
Fair enough.
Do you drink coffee?
I do.
You can have one afterwards and see if you like it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I love a coffee.
I don't drink coffee.
Really?
No.
That's why. That's
I don't know, I just never like coffee.
Fair, yeah. No, I took it up like early 20s, and then I was like little flat white, and then I was like, and I don't smoke. I used to smoke a lot of cigarettes, and now I don't, and then it's kind of replaced that.
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff. Okay, cool. Well, Paul, we can put a pin in there. And yeah, we can just crack on with part 2. But it's been lovely hearing more about yourself and what Casemates is all about in this part. And again, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next.
Cool, thank you.
Happy days. All right. Part 2.
What have you got for me?
Yeah, Paul, mate, it's part 2. So this part, obviously, we've gone out into the street, we've asked the question. Don't disclose the question until now. So feel free to stop at any time. Feel free to watch it to the end. I don't think it's that long. I think it's 1 minute 47.
Okay.
So and then we can react. You can do whatever you want, but then we'll have a discussion. So yeah, part 2.
There we go.
Let's turn this on. Do you prefer going to small music gigs or big music gigs?
So personally, I am not interested in both too, but yeah, if I get a chance, then I will go in the small one, as you said, yeah.
What do you prefer going to, small music gigs or big music gigs?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Define music gigs. Is that like a concert or is that...
Yeah, like live music.
Maybe a big one.
It depends what music it is. Because if it's like jazz, it's quite nice when it's small and chill. But then if it's like like mosh pit side, say you're seeing Travis Scott, you're not going to go to a small room because you're going to die. So that's
I've
what
watched
about
small
you?
venues.
I don't know. Depends. Depends what music you get in.
What do you prefer to go to? Small music gigs or big music gigs?
Small.
Big,
Small.
man. Hell yeah. I love my stuff for Guns N' Roses. Yeah, that was the last one I went to. Yeah, man.
No, small gigs.
That was sick.
Hell yeah, small gigs.
Small gigs, they're cheaper, there's more community in them, it's easier to get to. Small gigs.
Small music gigs.
Why?
Feels like more of a tight community sort of thing going on, yeah.
Personally, big music gigs.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Really? Why though? Why?
You know, it kind of like portray a different kind of vibe. You know, it gets more interesting.
The bigger,
you enjoy
the
the
better.
music and stuff
The
like that.
space, the enthusiasm, people being there. You know, where place is fun is when people are much, you get to interact with other people. But then if it's small, maybe with the one you put headset or something, it's chill.
Alright, so that's the question.
Interesting.
What are your thoughts?
Well, funny enough, last Wednesday I went to something run by the Music Venues Trust, which was a fan-led review on live music, and this question got brought up there about kind of
Interesting.
what is more preferred, and it's an interesting topic now because larger gigs, especially in this country, they're the most popular thing they've ever been, and they draw a massive amount of money into the UK economy. So there's more large venues now. Last year Manchester opened up the Carp Live Arena, and they've already had the MEN Arena in Manchester. And whenever you see these massive tours now happen around the country, which we've had recently, Coldplay doing them, Oasis this year, Taylor Swift, it's a big, massive boost to the economy. But it's also a massive cost to the people going. I think I read that someone brought up the statistic last year that the average cost of a couple going to a large gig can get up to about 900 quid when you take into account your tickets, your travel, maybe staying overnight, food, drink. So it's a lot of money people are spending going to these huge shows for these huge experiences with big bands. However, that's not accessible for everybody. So I think it was one of the girls said there she prefers going to the smaller shows because they are cheaper, they're easier to get to, and there's more of a community. And I think people are starting to look now on the local area to see what's going on because the cost of going to some of these shows is just getting absolutely outrageous. And it's getting to a point, I think, with the large shows as well, where it's got to get to a point where it becomes elitist. Like, only a certain demographic of people can afford to go to them, and you're not making it accessible for everyone. And is that the fault of the artist doing it, or is it a fault of the ticket agencies who are trying to make more money because it's cheaper to put on a few big shows than it is to put on some smaller ones and travel around more and move around the infrastructure? So it's really interesting. I don't know what's right and what's wrong. Personally, I prefer to go to a small show because it is easier. I don't want to have to get a train all the way up to London or drive and park and then be in queues of people and queue at a bar. I went to the O2 last year. It was £9 for a pint. Yeah. It's just borders on a bit ridiculous. And then you're really far away. And yeah, the atmosphere can be better on a good show, but it depends on the particular artists. I prefer being in a festival environment to watch a big artist rather than in a big stadium, just because it's a bit easier and you're there for longer and you see more. But I've been and seen. Luckily, the last few years, the Guildhall had quite a few fairly big artists that I've enjoyed, and I've gone to see at the Guildhall, and it's been a really great atmosphere going there. It's easy to get to, it's comfortable, could see the band well, sounded great, and didn't cost me the earth.
So more value for money in festivals over big concerts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Sure.
I think if you were to go to a festival ticket, something like the Isle of Wight at Victorious, it's like £100 a day, £80 a day, something like that. But then people will still say, "Oh, it's really expensive for a day." But then they'll spend £150 to go to Wembley to watch one band, with maybe a couple of supports who they don't really want to see anyway. So it's like, well, actually, that's pretty good value for money, I think. And you'll have at that festival a choice of 80 bands a day to go watch, something like that. So.
Yeah.
But if bands did more small shows, I think it'd be better for the music goer. But then the reason they're not doing them is it just because it costs more. You know, if you have a show and it costs this much to put on, and you can sell 10,000 tickets or you can sell 40,000 tickets, you're gonna go for the 40,000 ticket option.
Yeah, especially as
And every football ground across the country now is making themselves, again, like football grounds, they got cost to cover. They're trying to become a multi-purpose place, like we were discussing earlier on. So they got football on a Saturday, but then they can have some gigs in the middle of the week, and especially in the summer when when the season's off, they're all going to do it. But I think is that this weekend they've got Tottenham Stadium. We've got a boxing match going on.
They do a lot in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that place was built in mind, new stadium, of being a multi-purpose stadium. It's not just there for football.
Wow.
But that's where all the mega bucks go.
Sort of, but then it's like a cyclical economy in the football realm. Interesting. Fascinating.
What would you prefer? Small gig or large gig?
Poor. I think I agree with that girl that I like going to smaller gigs because for me, I think when I go to a smaller gig, I always see some bands that I don't know, or I always get, it's just more of an intimate experience. And I've been to a few small gigs around Europe and stuff, and I always go, don't know this band, but it was a vibe. Do you know what I mean? You meet nice people.
You need more people to take a chance.
Yeah.
Do you think there's I suppose going to see an unknown band, there's a risk factor. And if you're weighing up, maybe you haven't got a lot of disposable income, but you've got a night off. But for me, like if I've got a night off, I want to make the most of that night because I've got 2 young kids. I work a lot in the evening, so having a night off, I want to make sure I make the most of that. So there's a risk factor of what am I going to go see? Am I going to enjoy it? I don't really know it that well. Is it worth it? Some people need to take more of a risk because actually they probably will enjoy seeing something new, or you go for the comfort of going something to watch something This is why tribute bands do so well now.
Yeah,
it's comfort. You know what you're going to get. There's no surprises. You know you're going to enjoy it. Like the songs, and it's again why the big arenas and the big stadium tours do well with a lot of these big artists. People know what they're going to get.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I've been to big stadiums in the past, like up in London, and I've just been disappointed. Like, I've got such high expectations, but they don't sound how they sound on the headphones. They don't. Some of them, anyway. And like big bands, okay. Like some of like the feel and everything. I went to see Red Hot Chili Peppers once, live, and I paid like whatever I paid, and it was great. It was out in Seville. It was warm. I was like, this is a vibe. But
unfortunately, you're never going to see a band like the Red Hot Chili Peppers in the Wedge Rooms. It's just it's never going to happen. Oasis are never going to come to the Wedge Rooms. So for people to go to the small venues, they need to be taking a risk on a newer act they might not know. But actually, one point 40 years ago, the Red Hot Chili Peppers did play in a stadium in a room like the Wedge Rooms, and Oasis did actually play at the Wedge Rooms in the 90s. So you don't know who you're watching, and what might be the next big thing might be an experience that you get to see, and it might be a memory that you cherish, and then one day you can say, I saw that band before they were famous.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? But yeah, the local music scene, honestly. But okay, so any other thoughts
on that particular subject? I mean, another conversation that came up when we were chatting about large gigs, but it's all about how kind of they are dominated now by kind of the ticket sellers and the like price surging, which happened with the Oasis gigs and stuff like that. And it is just big corporate-owned ticket companies making money out of music goers, and is it right? But a part of this fan-led review that I took part of was the government, and it was we had an MP there, Caroline Dinage, who works closely with the Music Venues Trust. Yeah. So the kind of point of this fan-led review is very similar to when they did the football fans-led review a few years ago, in trying to make sure there's policies and legislation in place to support clubs. They're doing the same thing now to make sure there is new policies and new legislation to support music venues, so the grassroots music venues don't all die out. Because if we don't have them, then this next generation of bands playing stadiums won't be there. Like you look at some of the biggest bands we have, like now the newer ones, like Ed Sheeran. He cut his teeth playing in all these small venues, and he's openly said, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am now. So the government do need to step in to stop kind of what's happening, and they are listening now, and they're starting to. So hopefully it goes in the right direction.
We'll only see.
Yeah.
We'll only see. Eh?
Well, it makes a big part of our economy, so it is in their best interest in the long run to make sure something's done properly. Otherwise, I think UK music is one of our biggest exports or something in this country. Yeah, big economy.
Wow. I mean, that's fascinating because I heard once. I think it was from. I don't want to reference their name just in case it went true. But I think I heard once that obviously Portsmouth's becoming a devoluted, or we're going to experience devolution. So,
yeah.
You know,
With the council structures. And, yeah.
Now, the first thing to sort of get cut funding on that is always the arts, the creative, the third sector. But you just said there a really cool point that the music scene is the third largest, input into our economy. Now, given that we're going to experience this shift, do you think there will be a positive change or a negative change?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I think, personally, I think councils should be more local. I mean, the area that we're going to be joined up with, like, stretches all the way to, like, Southampton and Winchester. It's a massive area. So to have a smaller team running that, I can only see places are going to lose out and get lost in the fuzz of everything. So I hope it kind of is structured so there are smaller groups running areas and they can run it more efficiently. Because there are lots of little communities and they all need to make sure they thrive.
They do. Watch this space. But yeah, Paul, any final words on that video? Any final words in general?
Get out and watch some small gigs. Take a risk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, cool. That brings us to a lovely close on part 2. And yeah, again, what I said earlier, I look forward to seeing what happens next.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Hell yeah, man. Nice one.